Welcome to episode 477 of the Nintendo Powercast. We're a little bit late, and I only got Crawler here with me. What's up, baby? How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Crawl coming at you.
We the boys are recording Communication Air. Last week was a crazy week for me, and just I think for everybody it seemed like. Yep. So here we are. We got to stay on. We got to stay on track for episode 500. So it's also a holiday this week on Thursday. So who knows what we're gonna do, guys? We don't know yet. But we're here. We're getting stuff. We're getting stuff out. I see Servant is here saying howdy. What's up? What's up, Servant? What's up, chat? Good to see you guys as everybody starts to roll in. And we got some fun stuff to talk about. Before we get started, I want to let you guys know that I am an Elgato ambassador, and if you are thinking about getting into content creation, or you want to up your production game for your Zoom meetings, or whatever the case may be, maybe start doing some higher quality TikToks or YouTube Shorts or whatever you're into. You can head on over to n64josh.com/Elgato and use coupon code ZZ-N64Josh to save a little bit on your purchase there. And I know both Crawler and myself are rocking a lot of Elgato gear. We're both using the mic arm right now. I'm pretty sure our cameras are sitting on Elgato stands. The
running
through
cam links, running through with stream decks and pedals and all sorts.
All the above. Yeah. So it's kind of our go-to for production. So again, n64josh.com/Elgato and coupon code ZZ-N64Josh. Before we jump into all the other fun stuff, Crawler, where can people connect with you?
Best spots are TikTok and Twitter. Maybe I should post some. But that's the best spots. Nightcrawler 724, Nightcrawlers without the E.
Right on. Well, there's been some releases. So are either of us good Nintendo content creators, and have we played Luigi's Mansion 2 yet?
I own it twice. I own it on 3DS and I own it on Switch, and I haven't played it either spot. But I did pick it up. I booted it up so I can start that 10-day counter, which I hope they fix in the next console. That we can get playtime a little bit quicker. But I've gotten back into what we're playing on B-roll here. I got back into Mario, Paper Mario a little bit, so I've been playing that. And Elden. I'm trying to become an Elden Lord as well. I'm on the final boss of the main game of Elden Ring, so that's what I've been playing too.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm a little better than you, but only a little.
Did you make a save file?
No. I did not open it on the Switch, but I've played 3/4 of it on 3DS.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I do have that going for me. So excited to get into it. I was gonna fire it up because I thought it had potentially like the same mini games as 3, or like more mini games.
It does have multiplayer though, doesn't it?
It does, but from just the back of the box, it's only the Scream Tower, and not like all of those 8-player mini games that are fantastic. So I ended up not opening it up, and so we got a bunch more people jumping into the chat now. So I wanted to say what's up to everybody. We're live over on N64Josh on YouTube, on Nintendo Powercast on YouTube, and over on Twitch. So welcome on in, everybody.
Can we play this together? Is this something we can play online or no?
I think Scream Tower. But we'll have to check.
I'll Google it while we're doing this.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I can grab the box.
It only has one player listed on the back.
Yeah, and then it has online, and it says this game includes online features that require Nintendo Switch Online. Blah blah blah. And yeah, and then when I was looking through the multiplayer stuff, I was like, I think I ended up finding it up top. It says up to 4 players can brave the Scarescraper together, and there's a little asterisk. It says additional games and systems required for multiplayer mode. So I am assuming that means online, but yes, kind of interesting.
Yeah, Scarescraper online, but no local main campaign co-op like you could with Guiji in 3.
Yeah, nothing like that, unfortunately. So we just got a sub from Taco McMonkey over on Twitch. So shout out to Taco. I got to hang out with Taco this week as we celebrated Gav's life. So he was a good friend. So thanks for the sub. Good to see you. And so you've just been playing Paper Mario and Elden Ring, pretty much.
Yep.
And stitching.
I didn't talk about it last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever when we went 2 hours long. But there was a couple weeks ago. There was nothing one day, and then I clicked on the button at the bottom for DLC, and there was something the other day, and it was $5 for like 100 more puzzles. So there's a whole bunch of new stuff that I'm working on, still doing my dailies, all that kind of stuff. I also played in bed, probably click-clacking, annoying my wife. Got through Tetris 99, F-Zero 99, Invictus or whatever challenge.
The Maximum Cup?
Maximus Cup.
Yeah, yep. Maximus Cup. Love it. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I have not been doing too many. I haven't been playing much, honestly. So, just been busy. Family and friends, everybody here. I didn't even. All I saw was that I got a text from my daughter when she went home, and she was like, "I stole your Mario Party." So, so there we go. Chat's asking if I've tried Star Wars Hunters yet. And Cryptic says, have you tried it? I have not. Cryptic says, I booted it up, and it was surprisingly fun. Taco McMonkey says, hey, Josh, love you, man. Love you too, buddy. Glad you're here hanging with us. Thank you for gifting the subs. Appreciate you so much. I see Jamal is also here, so welcome on in. Good to see all you guys, Jenna, and anybody just lurking. Thank you guys again for being here. But yeah, so not a ton of gaming for me. Want to get into some Luigi's Mansion here, and
are you getting on a TikTok schedule this week, or?
I'm hoping to. Yeah, I'm really getting back into the swing of things work wise, and that includes a lot of. I made some pretty funny ads today, and that was quite enjoyable. Honestly, just kind of getting back into the swing of things there.
I'm broke on platinum points. They had a bunch of new stuff come out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had Dread, Prime, Luigi's Mansion, a whole bunch of stuff.
Did you have to go and play each one?
Well, no. At least for those, I didn't. I did have to go play some Fire Emblem on my phone though to get 100 100 points.
Yeah, I'm surprisingly I just don't use them that much, so it's like I'm at like over 2,500 or something.
Oh wow, you got a lot then. I buy the NFTs like Johnny does too. So
yeah, I always forget to go look. So I just try to see if there's Mario Kart ones, and then I just leave it on the one we got from
every week
from Nintendo Live, so I don't ever end up changing it anyway. So, but well, we've got. I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit of a doozy of a show. We've got two main topics to cover. And then we've also got there's quite a bit of news because it's been, we've kind of been away for a little bit. So
we can save it too because we'll probably do 2 episodes in 2 days. So
potentially, yeah, we may be back tomorrow. So there's a lot to chat about. But starting off, I'm gonna jump into Nintendo says it wants to avoid Switch 2 scalping by making enough to meet demand. President Shintaro Furukawa says he doesn't think component shortages will be an issue. We are looking at VideoGameChronicles.com. Nintendo says the best way to stop scalping of the Switch successor is to make enough of them in the first place. In a Q&A during a general meeting of shareholders, the company's execs were asked what measures they were taking place to stop reselling of its next console. Given that at last year's meeting they said they were planning to do so. So there was a little typo in the article there, and I was going full Just going full Anchorman. Nintendo's president replied that the company's main plan for combating scalping is to make sure players don't have to turn to resellers because they can just buy a console at retail. Furukawa said, as a countermeasure against resale, Nintendo believes that the most important thing is to produce sufficient numbers to meet customer demand. In addition, the president said Nintendo is also considering whether it can take some other measures, taking into account circumstances in each region. Furukawa also noted that the semiconductor shortage that affected numerous companies' ability to produce new hardware in recent years is no longer an issue. Last year and the year before, we were unable to produce sufficient quantities of the Nintendo Switch hardware due to a shortage of semiconductor components, but this situation has now been resolved, he explained. At present, we do not believe that the shortage of components will have a significant impact on the production of the successor's model. Nintendo confirmed in May that it will announce its next console this fiscal year, meaning the Switch's successor will be revealed by the end of March 2025 at the latest. So, looking at the chat here, we got Cryptic that says, "I don't remember launch for Switch, but it wasn't too bad compared to PS5 and Xbox, as far as I'm aware." That is very true. Those were super rough. Taco McMonkey says that's great, but they will still underestimate demand. Guaranteed, it's Nintendo. And Cryptic again says, "But can this mean that they are willing to push the Switch 2 launch further until they meet pre-order demand?" And I think that's really the topic at hand, right? Like, what, in my opinion, I'm thinking the potential, like everybody is under the assumption that the Switch 2 has been delayed, right? And I think this is part of the reason. I mean, not only does it suck for us when scalpers end up buying everything, but I think in the long run, I think there's the potential for Nintendo to lose out here as well, because some people will just like continue to wait, versus being able to just go in and then of course others are going to spend that extra money, which is also frustrating for the consumer as well. So I think there may be something. How crazy would it be to be able to walk into any retail and see the Switch 2 on the shelf even without pre-ordering? Because that wasn't even the case for this Switch. There were more copies of Breath of the Wild out there than there were Switches. So, what do you think of this news?
Well, first off, nobody walks into a brick and mortar anymore unless it's like Target and you're doing other stuff. Because I don't go to Best Buy unless I've already bought something and I'm just going to the counter. I feel like to just have them. They've already pulled it and it's there ready for me.
You're so fancy. Why'd you say that with your pinky out? It's crazy.
It's up. But I mean, like, I don't know, like those retailers, they're gonna have stuff in this. Hopefully, they have stuff. Like, there's PlayStations and Xboxes now when you go walk by. But it took them 2.5 years to be able to do that. I think COVID and the shortage and all that kind of stuff made for it to be a challenge. I think if they can come up, the biggest thing is I think those big box retailers need to come up with better solutions to verify that a real person or is not abusing their system, I guess. And I remember, I think I got my Xbox through GameStop. And I think I had to do it with the subscript. Like, I applied for the credit check or whatever, and I did the financing or whatever. It ended up getting. I still have the Game Pass Ultimate or whatever. But and I don't think it ended up costing me anything extra.
No, you saved money that way.
Okay, so I did save some money, but like that was the only way to kind of get it through GameStop for the Xbox, and then. On my PlayStation 5, I think it was a random glued to Wario 64 kind of deal. And hey, it's up, go quick. And I got lucky on a Best Buy that had it. And I was because there's two that are kind of close to me that I would go pick it up at, or three, I guess. But it was at one, and I was able to set it for store pickup and got it. But it was a struggle to kind of do that. And then on the Switch, I do remember it kind of being a challenge initially. I also wasn't gung ho initially on the Switch. Like I wanted to play Breath of the Wild, I really did, but I didn't want to play it enough to play it on my Wii U. So like I was kind of waiting for something, and Mario ended up being the kind of straw that broke the camel's back, and I got that, and I had a lot to play that October, November, December when I got my Switch, which was great. But yeah, it was kind of challenging, I think, to get it initially. So hopefully, in partnership with the big box stores, they come up with a way that is, which I think they've gotten better since the debacles with PlayStation 5 and Xbox One or Xbox Series. Xbox still needs to fix that. But I think it'll get better, and hopefully the lessons learned, and it's because I feel like on Best Buy, I feel like I'm verified that there's more verify you're a human stuff in there, I think now.
You're still salty about Xenoblade. Let's be real.
I don't want to have to buy stuff directly through Nintendo because their website can't handle it.
Yeah. Taco in the chat says, I think a lot of it will. I think a lot of the initial demand will depend on it being confirmed to be backwards compatible. If it's not, I don't think it will be quite as popular. But if they bring the existing install base, people will go crazy for the updated Switch. The continues on. Let's see, especially if they confirm locked 60 FPS minimum for all current first party, that would be amazing.
So there's like two things in there. There's like a thing that would make it kind of crazy for people that want to go do it, and then there's a whole other subsection of people that would not care about it until there's a killer app. Because I feel like that's what Xbox has marketed themselves as. Your stuff stays with you all the way throughout, and it doesn't matter. PlayStation has kind of painted themselves into a corner, and they had to change kind of launch plans for multiple titles that they had, and having both of those consoles sitting in front of me, there isn't anything remarkable about them. There hasn't been, like, Ratchet and Clank was supposed to be this only possible on PlayStation 5, and it maybe there's stuff under the hood. Like the Rift stuff did not impress me as much as they had kind of advertised it as. The controller's kind of cool with Astrobot doing some of that stuff, but it's not. That's a tech demo, and none of the other games really take advantage of rain pitter pattering on your controller as you're playing it. Like, so when you have multi-console titles, those console specific features usually fall flat, and they don't kind of do anything. So all we're getting is faster load times, which is incredibly nice, but it's also a hassle. I haven't upgraded any of my SSD stuff. I haven't bought the expandable cards for the Xbox, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet on a M.2 drive with an SSD for my PlayStation. I want to, because it's kind of a hassle to shuffle stuff in and out of storage. You can only end up holding right now, with the size of the games that they are, you can only have maybe 4, maybe 5 games on your console, and you kind of have to pick and choose what you have, play through it, and then delete it or move it. And it's if like when PlayStation gives me free games every month for PlayStation Plus, if there's an option to download a type, like when it's multi options for like either the PS5 version, the PS4 version, sometimes it's just better to put the PS4 version on, because I know it can go on my expanded hard drive, external hard drive, and not have to worry about it taking up space on my internal drive. So there hasn't been anything killer about that. So going back to the new Switch, if it's backwards compat, the hardcore Nintendo fanboys are gonna want that, go for that with the hopefully increase in frame rate, increase in loading time, no stutters when when you're playing Princess Peach or whatever that is, that we're seeing on some of that stuff. And if the new Zelda game will run better because it's on the new Switch, then great. But if the 130 million install base that they have with the Switch, if they know that it's not anything, like they can play their old stuff or games that are coming out aren't necessarily exclusive to it, or that the current backlog, like they can still play through that. So that's why I think it really depends on having a killer app at the beginning. But game companies are also reluctant to do that because then they're killing off 130 million install base to bank on a new system. And I mean, consoles are different for Nintendo. They sell them for a profit, usually more so than Sony and Microsoft. But consoles traditionally take a loss, and you bank on selling software. But if you don't have an install base, then you can't sell software. So they've kind of got themselves caught in a loop, and they make stuff backwards compat, and so you don't feel as rewarded with the new hardware. I don't know.
Yeah. And you're talking about that killer app. Neither Xbox nor PlayStation have 1-2 switch. So, like let's be real here. They are missing out. So, Cryptic's got a few things to say here. He says Amazon also ran into issues of taking more pre-orders than they had in stock, which was a bummer. Yeah, and that's always frustrating.
Casualty of E3. They can't multi-level market those meetings with figuring out what their orders are going to be for the year.
Right. Yeah. And he also says, honestly, I don't think consoles will have stock issues, but what I fear is that the physical collectors are now starting to see their pre-orders canceled and being forced digital. And to kind of touch on that a little bit, like I walked into GameStop and bought Luigi's Mansion, no issues.
I ordered it on Best Buy that morning, and I went and picked it up.
Yeah. So I think I'm not sure what the deal is with these online orders, and at the same time, like there could very well be like Nintendo, like, kind of sharpening that pencil a little bit, like getting those margins a little bit better, not putting out as much overstock as they may have done in the past. So just, it's one of those things it could also be them wanting us to walk into GameStop for all I know. I don't know. Because every time I walk in there, I end up buying all kinds of Nintendo merch, which I'm just like, they got me again.
How many Mario Kart shirts? You have a Mario Kart shirt, one for every day of the week, I think.
Oh, I've one every day of the month. Like, let's be real, So,
as I'm wearing one right now. As well.
Right? Yeah, I got Baby Yoda on today, so people love it when you call him that. Cryptic says COD alone is 300 gigs. Nintendo needs a hard drive solution. Yeah, and speaking of that hard drive solution, with Xbox, my dad wanted to play the show, right? Well, I have the 5 games I want to play. I do the cloud, and then they bark at you the entire time you're playing, like, "Hey, it looks like you're playing this game longer than normal. Well, you want to go ahead and download that?" Like, no, I'm good. I'm playing on his 1080p TV. I don't really need to. I don't need the 4K assets and all that stuff.
And that's what's nice about Xbox. PlayStation doesn't have that solution, but yeah. Just being able to play stuff off the cloud. When you have a solid internet, it's even when you have a solid internet connection on Switch with those cloud games, they were not great. So Xbox is doing good things when it comes to kind of getting that going.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, we've seen some cloud games on the Switch. I wonder if that improves and then helps with hard drive space. That being said, they have to move, in my opinion, away from this is strictly a cloud game. Like if we're going to get something like Cyberpunk, and I'm just throwing a random game.
It's supposed to be, the rumor is, right, PlayStation 4, Xbox One kind of level.
Well, I've seen people talking about it being even a little above that, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm waiting for the official announcement, so. But yeah, I would hope that the cloud would be an option on something purchased, but not the only I won't do it. I will not rent I will not rent a cloud game. Like it just doesn't. It's fine. Like I'm fine with it on Game Pass because it's like the Netflix thing. Like movies come and go, games come and go. That's fine. I'm gonna buy the ones I want in my library anyway. They're gonna stay there. Even if Nintendo came out with Game Pass, I would still buy the physical versions of the games, I want in that collection. You know, so. Nadine says there's no way Metroid Prime 4 comes out the same year as the Switch, does it? Especially when a huge fan base already know it's on the horizon. My gut feeling with Metroid Prime 4 is it is a day one with the Switch 2, and it is
better with Switch 2.
Yep. Yeah. That's my gut feeling on how that's gonna go down.
Because I think they've already said in some marketing type stuff, Switch family of systems, right?
Well, I know we've said that plenty. So
I think they have as well. They technically it already is. Like there's Redbox, there's OLED, and there's Light. So I mean, there already is a family of systems, but.
Yeah, it's that same debacle of it needs to be marketed well enough to be known as a different device altogether, so that like
putting a number on it helps.
Yeah, just because random consumer going to buy Billy their new Switch and they see the cheaper model, they may not know what it is that they're actually looking at. So that's going to be important. Parky says, I'm glad Nintendo finally admits the lack of hardware at launch is an issue. Oh yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we see plenty. Taco says should be slightly better than a PS4 Pro, according to leak specs. Yeah. That's kind of the stuff we've been seeing as well. Let's see. Going through, Cryptic says you should get a discount on Switch 2 if you own cloud games as they release native ports. Yeah, and maybe that's another way they do it, where you can get 3 months of cloud with the game, and then on your physical if you want. If that again, that's pending that. Like in my assumption and all that is that the cloud would be the better way to play with a lesser powerful system versus just having it all run natively. And I'm speaking on particularly larger games like let's say Cyberpunk or something along those lines. I don't think that's even happening. I'm just using that game as an example. So, Ghost Machine says I'll probably wait for the OLED model. Jenna says, I'm honestly happy with whatever now that Hello Kitty Island Adventure is coming and Zelda is playable in a new game. So, that's all it took. Jenna is good for a while. So Nate says cloud gaming equals Nate out. Yeah. And it's not like, again, I like the convenience of cloud gaming. It's not something I want to see them go to as a complete, means of gaming. And I don't think they would leave money on the table at this point with how many,
especially as a portable system.
Yeah, it's not ideal. You want to be able to plug that in to your Ethernet for sure. So Taco says the scary part, Nintendo sucks at naming hardware successions. Wii and Wii U were a nightmare to sell and explain, same as getting customers to understand 3DS and new 3DS. Yeah, and those they've had some issues for sure. One thing I wanted to mention when you were talking about, you said something. Oh, walking into retail. I did this the other day. I walked into Target, and you know how we do. I went and bought a T-shirt that I needed, just a black shirt for the service, and then some socks, and looked at the graphic tees and didn't see anything I needed, and then walked over to the Nintendo section just to see if there was anything I needed, and there was a guy standing there, and he was in all black, and so he asked if we needed any help, and I was like, oh, you work for Nintendo, right? And so I just started up a conversation with him. Well, turns out he's actually a pretty big fan of the show. So unfortunately, I only heard his name once, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but you know who you are if you're listening. So thanks so much for we ended up taking a photo together, and he was like so bummed. He's like, why don't I got any cool swag in my bag? I wish I had some stuff to give you right now. So it was really cool meeting him, and I can confirm Nintendo is listening. so so we gotta be careful now, but yeah, I do hope.
Was he just like retail compliance?
He was fixing the kiosks, like
okay,
like the screen wasn't coming on, so he had to move it to a different port, and we talked about, he was at PAX and we talked about Nintendo Live, and I asked if he went to the the Art of Nintendo Power, and he was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, and I'm very sad now. And I showed him some pictures, and
we took video and stuff. We need to edit that video.
Yeah, it sits on my iPad that I always need space for, so I need to do it and get it out, because it's like one of these days I'll accidentally delete it and be like, no. So one day, hopefully sooner than later, but
maybe before we go to PAX again.
Yeah, right, exactly. I've already been to one other PAX since, so but yeah, I think I think this is a good thing, and I think we're gonna see a lot of people with Switches in their hands, and I do think the the killer app is gonna be key, and that's got to be something more than Metroid Prime. Don't get me wrong, Metroid Prime 4 is a day one, but Mario Kart, especially if Mario Kart was cross-gen, I see, like.
Do you want that though?
I don't care, as long as all I want from Mario Kart is battle passes, and I know that that's not the popular opinion, but I want to continue getting content in that game, like not just bite-sized content. I want meaty content in Mario Kart for a very long time.
Because I feel like Mario Kart could be something, especially with the history. Granted, it wasn't a native release on Switch, but it's been something that's been there since near the beginning. It came out two or 3 months after the fact, and it was a Wii U game that they ported over, but it's routinely been in the NPD top 10 every month, pretty much. If they made whatever it's called, if it's called Mario Kart 9, Mario Kart 10, Mario Kart whatever,
Crossroads,
yeah. If it is exclusive to the next system, it's not going to. It maybe won't sell great at the initial. Just it'll sell like Breath of the Wild did. It'll sell enough of every console and probably a little bit more. But as time goes on, it's that evergreen title that will continue to sit at the top of the charts and will be kind of that companion game that everyone picks up with it. And so even if they're missing out on 130 million install base, it's not like it's going to be done and forgotten about after 3 months on the shelf or something like that.
The other thing it's got me thinking about is like special edition consoles. Do they release Mario Kart at launch and miss the opportunity to have a Mario Kart Switch?
What year? 92. So we're
we missed it. Last year was like
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on so we'll come up on, in 2 years we'll come up on 20, or on, is that 35?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean they tend not to care about these anniversaries so much, but I don't know.
Do they continue flexing those brand muscles and make Mario Kart $60 plus battle passes, or do they go a free to play model with like just multiplayer, like essentially Mario Kart Tour for free, but then adding a story mode? And because I think typically my brain always goes to the multiplayer side of things, but what if they made, and this is totally like not one of our topics tonight, but like what if Mario Kart Crossroads was like a celebration, Mario Karts, and like there was a storyline behind playing like some of Super Mario Kart and some of Super Circuit, but they like, you know, however they end up doing that, like just kind of travel through time, like give it some kind of story mode, something that kind of something kind of like beefy, right? That make that $60-$70 purchase worth it. But then and then also give you some really cool stuff for having that physical game in the multiplayer side of things. Like I'd be
I mean, if they could come up with something like Rift Apart ish, like for single player, like Grand Prix Through the Ages or something like that, and like as you're driving, you play one of those classic courses or something like that, and you drive through a some kind of gate and it changes to 16-bit, and then it changes, you drive through another gate and you're driving 64-bit, and then you're driving Wii, and like I don't know, just come up with that would be kind of cool.
But all on the same engine, so it feels the same, even though it looks like the old school graphics. You know, I don't know. I feel like, and like, you know, chats like Taco says, please no. Killer says, I think they should do a season pass. Like everybody's kind of torn on this thing, right? I feel like there's a way they can do it right to keep everybody happy, where like still give plenty of unlocks and stuff to do in the free version of the battle pass each season.
I don't want it to be nickeled and dimed like it was in Tour, but if they can come up with something in the vein like how they did the DLC, where it was, you could buy it if you wanted to make sure you had it for all time, but if you wanted to be part of NSO, it's a perk and it's just there. Like you and I both still don't own it because we don't need to right now, but we have access to it. And if they can make a platform and have it be a reason to have NSO, then that's great. And if they can, it's going to be a more traditional Mario Kart, so it doesn't have to rely on the horrible perks that you get for being a specific skin and a specific cart in a specific track to get triple items or whatever, then that's all the better. And then that way they don't have to rely on those microtransactions, and then maybe in fact those can be Fortnite-esque and just let it be fun and doesn't affect gameplay, because that was the problem with Tour, and I continue to have a problem with that with Tour, is that it doesn't, it wants these specific skins to be competitive to win, and I still don't know if I'm playing real people or not. Like
you're not. You're just playing their ghosts.
Yep.
Yeah, just their ghosts. But yeah, so I mean, anyway, back to the topic at hand. We'll discuss Mario Kart at length at plenty, like every show, like we do, and you know, and it's just funny. You could see the chat divided, right? Some people are for it, some people are against it. Like, I'm selfish when it comes to this. I want as much Mario Kart content as possible because it's my main game, and it allows me to play with the they better not mess it up. Like, they've got great tournament options right now in 8 Deluxe.
Just make it better.
Please make it better. Do not take anything away when it comes to this, because no.
Yeah, don't go from World Tour to what was the golf one called?
Toadstool Tour?
No,
right?
no. It was just called Mario Kart. What's the DS one called?
Oh, Mario Kart DS?
No, sorry, not kart. Sorry, golf. Mario Golf.
The 3DS one.
Yeah.
World Tour.
Yeah. And then what's golf on Switch?
Double Dash oh my goodness, it's the Dash Attack. What is it? Mario Golf Super Circuit. Somebody said it in the chat. I don't even know.
It was forgettable. That's the thing. Like,
no, it was the dash mechanics.
But don't take away features that were like we're there.
Super Rush. There we go. Where you had a dash attack. Thank you, guys. You guys should host your own show, and since you have the right answers. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I don't think they will. Rumor is it's their most expensive, their most money they've ever spent developing a game. So I have a feeling there's a lot in store, and I'm looking forward to it. Cryptic says fake Nintendo fans. So there we go. That wouldn't be the first time we've had a review like that. So, yeah. So next up, we're going to talk about leakers and leaks, and I got a lot of comments over on the Discord, n64josh.com/Discord if you want to jump in and be part of Players Pulse. And let me get this pulled up here. We've got a lot of people that jumped in on this one. And so the question that I asked is what does everybody think of leaks and leakers? And if you guys are in the chat right now and you want to answer, feel free. There was news, like when I put this up, there was news about Pyoro having essentially access to the back end of Nintendo.com, and that's
which is what delayed us getting landing pages after this last direct. It took like 3 or 4 days for landing pages to pop up for the new games.
Yeah. But we got nothing ahead of time, right? There was no leaks. And so, I mean, give me your thoughts on that. Do you prefer having the surprises from the direct, or do you want to know ahead of time?
So, content for content, I'm not recording myself when I watch directs. Like sometimes we'll get on after the fact and it's there. But if I can get, and I'm usually sitting in my basement right here just watching it by myself, so there's no reason to react or do anything. But if I can have an audible response to something that I see on screen, because it's a true surprise and it's something that I'm actually excited about, and not in a content creator lose my mind, fall out of my seat kind of reaction, I think that's awesome and genuine. Like it's really, it's exciting to kind of like when like the Everyone's Here kind of trailer dropped, like the fact that was just happening, like every character that was in Smash was coming back, and it was just happening. Like, and I'm trying to think of some more audible kind of response. Like they're usually kind of muted, but like even if it's a hint of something, it takes away that kind of the kind of like, oh my god, like it's here, it's happening, or something like that. Like it's just, it steals the thunder, and that's no fun, because that's part of the excitement.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. For me, I enjoy the conversations around rumors, right? Yeah. When things are,
we make content about that. I mean,
yes, yeah. What scares me about leaks is something being accurate and then having Nintendo or another company come after you because you're actually part of the problem of, it's like if it's a rumor and, we guess it and it's correct, or, that kind of stuff, that's a little bit different. But like, there were takedown notices and stuff for certain videos and blog articles and things like that for like Legend of Zelda leaks and that kind of stuff, where it's like art books get leaked and it's got all the bosses and everything in the game, and you're like, no, like I don't want to see any of that.
Or Assassin's Creed devs are coding on subways or airplanes or whatever it is that they're doing. Usually those pictures get taken.
Yeah. And so like, I loved the surprises of this of this direct. I think
Cryptic was talking about the Assassin's Creed stuff too. Sometimes devs leak stuff. He's like, "Do you feel like devs leak some stuff on purpose?" How many times does a random guy see Assassin's Creed docs on a train?
yeah, it's and sometimes there may be some marketing tied to all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that being the case with Nintendo. They're pretty tight-lipped about everything, and as we could see, like they, like, can you imagine when the tweets from these leakers go out and then immediately, like I just watched the new Quiet Place. And there are moments you can see all of those creatures just like running as a pack. That's how I envision the Nintendo ninjas trying to
they hear a small little whisper and they just come running to eat you up.
Exactly that. So, like, Cryptic's asking, how do you feel about Smash characters being leaked from hackers in the source code and stuff like that? I mean, that. Again, it does kind of take some of the fun out of it, but I don't know that there's much they can do about that. Like, unless they start putting it, like, trying to use fake names and things like that. But I don't understand. I don't know the process well enough to know, what they can do there. So I got a bunch of Discord responses here. So Aaron says leaks and leakers are the second worst part about gaming, but are created by the social media corner of toxic gamers. And yeah, I can see what he's saying there. There's a lot of toxic gamers. I'm going to go back to our chat here, and we got Rachel. X Knight 666 says, I hate leaks and leakers. It takes away so much of the fun of Nintendo Directs if you know what's going to be in it. Parky says it works both ways. Leakers could end up being spoilers, but also the anticipation, right? Jenna says surprises better. Taco says, I'm split on leakers. Sometimes they leak the info that the public probably should know that corporations don't tell us, but other times I really like being surprised. Looking at Killers, it says, there's leakers, then there's hackers breaking into servers of devs, and is no good. Getting info from a real person is different. Yeah, and that's the whole other side of this thing.
And there's court documents too.
Yeah, the court documents. They're like, I felt for Sony. I know it's just a corporation, but like, not just Sony, but like the fans and everything. When like everything's out there, they like. There were companies that got hacked, and like they just
ransom, right? Sony, it was a ransom, right?
Yeah, they ransomed that stuff, and it's just that kind of stuff is like, I don't know. It's just that seems like it's way too far, way too far. So, Taco says good leaks generally being related to security things with hardware, software, etc. Jenna says rumors great, leaks not so much. There we go. Nate says flat out leaks is a negative. Hinting towards something makes it fun. Yes, I agree.
And like hardware stuff, hardware is not necessarily straight like stolen kind of intellectual information to find out stuff. That's just sometimes people understanding supply chain, and like because I think Bloomberg, I think back in before the OLED came out, had information about like excess screens that were purchased by Nintendo, like and just were able to make deductions based on that. Like, yeah. So just understanding supply chain, understanding where these companies are getting information, who their chip supplier is, they can make educated kind of deductions down on what they're buying in mass and what it's going to potentially lead to.
Yeah. Lastly here from the chat, Nate says, I'd rather game leaks leak the game story than the hype leaks. I push A throughout a story anyway. He's my brother. Nate must be my brother. So, continuing on, Giggle Pants says, annoying, poo, rubbish. Giggle Pants, aka is Jenna over on Twitch. Also says it's cool but annoying for it to be spoiled. If it's wrong, even more annoying because it gets your hopes up. Aaron says rubbish for real. No cap. So shout out to Aaron for
bringing that Gen Z energy.
yeah. Nothing like it. Joe says it depends. When it comes to the internet and leaks, things get leaked all the time. Movies, TV shows, music, despite the legal side of things. If you don't want something spoiled for yourself, then avoid the leaks. Keep scrolling. It's still annoying, but the only answer sometimes is to avoid since it's inevitable. And, there are times that I'm muting words on X because I don't want to see information about certain things.
Well, and TV shows and movies are more susceptible because they happen out in the open. Games can ideally take an entire development behind closed doors, and it doesn't have to be on location or with extra contracts with actors and some with actors and stuff, but like not as much. IMDb is not updating stuff based on this kind of stuff until it comes out for video games usually, whereas movies have investors and other kinds of like external investors and other kinds of stuff that they are updating and taking part in, and permits and all that kind of stuff, that there's a lot more holes in the in the bowl for it to kind of fall out of.
Looking at Rachel says, how are you supposed to avoid when they're almost every Nintendo related account is posting about it? Yeah, it can be hard to do. It can be hard to do. It says Cryptic says, I love hardware leaks. How exciting it is to hear the next Nintendo console is codenamed Revolution, or C, it's a 480p system, LOL. Project Cafe for Wii U. Right. And yeah, some of that stuff can be fun at times. No question there. Back over to the Discord.
Code names are fun. I wish that stuff kind of leaked out more. Like, and even like they live on after the fact too. Like Dolphin is an emulator for GameCube, and and Project Scorpio, they put that inside the console or whatever on the Project Scorpio edition. Like, there's some fun in that.
For sure. Yeah, Nadian Nay says, I don't mind leaks, but I wish they could be contained somewhere else and not wide open. Jack on Discord says, leakers, I have mixed opinions about. On the one hand, sometimes hearing rumors like about the next-gen console can be cool, but that being said, I don't like being spoiled for games, especially if it's being spoiled for the plot of a game. Yeah, that can be rough. And I can't remember what it was recently, but people get all bent out of shape about, different things with gaming. And then I see tweets of the main plot twist going out because they're upset about something. And it's like, what are we doing? This is crazy. Firestone says leaks about Alphabet Boys good, leaks about games bad. I have no clue what that means. So, I'm not sure. Anya says, I feel kind of the same as this, talking about Jack's take. I feel like I don't mind it too much with upcoming consoles, and you can see if it's worth it, plus more time to decide if you want to save up or not. I also don't mind just giving titles or of upcoming games if there's one I'm excited for, but any plot details and spoilers make me mad. LMAO. So... Alphabet Boys are the CIA and the FBI. So there we go. I love it. There we go. Everybody's letting me know. Appreciate it. Not a term I've heard for for either of those. Leaks about Alphabet Boys good. Leaks about games bad. Yeah, I don't. I wonder if Firestone loves his conspiracy theories or something like that. I'm very curious. There. So, Cryptic says, I don't mind leaks. Leakers, I think the problem is everybody chooses to cover them daily, and there's so much false info out there. If people didn't care so much about breaking news, it would be so easy to avoid. I don't mind leaks of events. It's when story spoilers or personal data gets out there that it's troublesome. We hear stuff about an Xbox handheld Now we anticipate it coming, and now every press event, Xbox execs get cornered and questioned. Is it true about the handheld? It kind of takes away the excitement.
Phil kind of brought that on himself, though. I mean, the fact that he's kind of coy about it, he's kind of welcoming that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and he likes to keep the conversation going, keep it on, especially if it's on Xbox, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, he knows the power of his shelf.
Oh, Firestone then put all of the different alphabet boys: CIA, ATF, FBI, and EPA. So they're all there eventually. Lacey Pacey says leaks are a bit of a double-edged sword. They're great for getting hype going, but they aren't always true. And if they are true, it takes the excitement away from the real announcement. And if it's false, it's just a huge bummer. And if you find yourself experiencing frequent leaks, please see a doctor. So there you go. You might need to call a plumber as well. The Mario Brothers. The thing about this also is, like, remember when the Metroid Prime trilogy was listed at a retailer in like Italy, and then like Amazon Italy or something like that? Well, it's never come to pass, right?
Yep.
So that kind of stuff, like that, I don't know. That kind of stuff is like, what are we doing here? Crimpus says, I don't like them, and I don't respect the journalists and high-profile figures on social media that are the first to report the leaks. If they are already out in the open, then I think it's okay to offer opinions on leaks. My issue is more about those making a living off of breaking news that are leaks.
So I would add a caveat on that. Like true journalists, like Jason Schreier or some of the news team over at IGN or whatever, they are not. I would not put them in that lump group of ruining things or out there. They're out there vetting stuff, so they are going to find multiple sources, somebody that's willing to talk, and they're doing their due diligence. I'm going to say that they are not. They're not out there to go ruin something, but they're trying to get. If there's a hint of something, they're going to track down what is highly probable truth that they've checked through multiple sources and aren't out there just to ruin kind of somebody's fun, like some of the other, like for social media clout, that's something different. Those aren't journalists. But like for a reputable kind of site that is wanting to report the news, they're gonna do their due diligence.
I think one of the things that, like, when it comes to this stuff and on the leak side of it, there are so many like YouTube channels that are based strictly on leaks. And I'm like, it's got to be tiresome that like literally daily they're like, here's this new potential thing, but they've got massive fan bases that eat it up, right? Like that's that. But it's like, for me, I'm like, I know I've watched enough of those videos to know that there's nothing ever actually said. And I'm like, I feel like there's just an art to talking about these leaks and never actually. And if you look at the thumbnail, it's like definitive proof of this, and then it's just talking around it the entire time, and you're like,
it's the dog chasing their tail, and they don't know what to do if they catch it, so they're never going to catch it. They're just going to chase it.
Yeah. Cryptic says people like Wario64 and Jeff Grubb are good leakers in a way that they can get us prepared for when pre-orders go live or when more stock is coming. Yeah, and Jeff seems pretty reputable anyway. Like the stuff he the stuff he talks about.
I don't think Wario ever posts anything that's a leak. I think it's all stuff that has been sourced somewhere else, and this is where you can go find it for Wario.
Right. Yeah. So Rachel's naming names. I'm not naming any names. I'm not naming any names. So Brian says leaks are for little rubber people that don't shave yet. People need to stop judging their e-peens based on getting video game news out first. Touch grass. So thank you, Brian, for that. And I posted a picture of grass for him. I was literally sitting in the grass when he sent that reply to me, and so I just took a quick shot and sent him grass that I was currently touching. Let's see. Moving on here. Want to make sure we got any last entries. Nate and Aaron. Aaron just says, can we all agree that the direct was more enjoyable without these leaks? It makes the industry showcases more fun when we all have surprises. And yeah, and it makes the reactions more real, which Crawler loves, you know, all the screaming and the jumping up and down and the tears because the next Mario is next Mario's coming out. Like, nah, we Crawler doesn't love the reactions.
Hey, you know what? The group of people at Nintendo New York, that's like a swept up in the hype kind of deal. But if you're alone in your house and you're crying or falling out of your chair, like,
did you see the dude that passed out and they just left him on the floor at Nintendo store? Like, he was so excited he passed out. Like, you good, bro? Like, you good? That was crazy. That was crazy. So, yeah, Nate says the Xbox and Nintendo Direct were fantastic because they were kind of locked down. And it definitely made it more fun. Xbox Showcase almost fully leaks before the showcase, so it was nice. They kept it mostly under wraps this time. Yeah, and I'm right there. Like, I think having all those surprises, not knowing Johnny was going to have to eat the chip until it aired, like.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just kind of felt like like old times.
Game one. It was great.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think we'll probably we just hit the hour mark, so we can wrap it up there. I will get to the news probably in the morning, and so because there's quite a bit, but do just want to give a shout out to everybody hanging out with us live. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you're listening after the fact on Spotify or Apple, any of those places, we do appreciate it. And remember, if you want ad-free listening, guys, you can subscribe on Apple or Spotify. So thank you so much for everything. I am hoping I'm trying to carve out some time this week to release episode 1 of the Metroid show. And I think you guys are going to like it. I'm very, very excited about it, and there's multiple seasons for this thing, so I'm really excited to get it out there for you. So, thanks so much, guys, for listening, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.